So welcome to everyone to our first briefing of Ol Lida Meri Launch and the activity around All Women Lead. We're really excited to continue this Women in Leadership priority for the PNG Partnership Secondary Schools Initiative. And we're very excited to have our female school leaders and our provincial education officers join this activity for 2021. Next slide, please, Em. So just in terms of an opening prayer, I might go to Grace. If you're able to turn on your sound and do the prayer for this session, that would be wonderful. And if not, we'll jump to PNGAus because I know they're expert at it. But we'll see if Grace can do it first. I think maybe Grace is having some technical issues, probably internet connections not helping either. So PNGAus, we might jump to you if you're happy to do a welcome prayer, opening prayer. Just make sure you...
Okay, let's all bow our heads for prayer, please. Our Father in heaven, you're the source of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We are gathered here online for the launching of the Lida Meri session. I pray that your Holy Spirit will be with us, give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to understand the things that we will hear this afternoon. Thank you for being with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. So just in terms of a bit of housekeeping around our technology, so make sure your camera is on with the camera button clicked so it's not red. Make sure your microphone is muted, so little mic button, if you can make sure that that has the line through it and is red. If you are on your phone, you may need to touch the screen to have the menu pop up so you can activate those buttons. If you want to turn captions on, you can do so by clicking on the three ellipsis buttons and there's a menu there. Also, we have the chat function. So if at any time you want to ask any questions or put your hand up, please use that chat function. It's the little idea button that you can pop up and then type in. If you're on a phone, you do have to click the three ellipses and type in the in-call messages. And then what we would love you to do to start with is in the chat box is just introduce yourselves, so your name and where you're from, just so we can see everyone, because when the PowerPoint is running, we can only see about 4 or 5 faces at once at any one time. So if you can type into there that you're here, that would be fantastic. So just in terms of the agenda for our Lida Meri briefing today, I'll do some introductions. We'll go into a bit of background about where we are and where we're going. We'll look at some of the school-based learning activities that are going to be rolled out between now and September and the timeline tied with that. We'll go into a deeper dive into the Ol Lida Meri course and then talk about some of the participant roles and expectations before heading to question and answers. So just in terms of introduction, I'm Aaron O'Shaughnessy, Manager of Secondary Education at Australia Awards for the PNGAus Partnership Program. I've met most of you, if not in real life, virtually. So it's great to have you all joining us again. All of you will know the wonderful Anna Antonievich, our School Capacity Building Specialist and leader of Leading Learning. She will be leading our Ol Lida Meri activity as well this year. Junior Muke is our Senior Coordinator. He's just joined the program in the last couple of months. Welcome him. He's replaced Maristella. And then Medi Retta, who's our coordinator. She's on leave at the moment, but she sends her regards to everyone. At the AEF, we have Jen Starr. She's new to the program. She's just joined the AEF recently. We look forward to working with her. She's the Manager of International Education Partnerships. We also have Sophie Hallett, who most of you will have met at some point, whether it be online or face-to-face in Port Moresby or Melbourne. She's our Assistant Manager of International Education Partnerships in Melbourne. And then Emmeline Gillingham, our Coordinator of International Education Partnerships You will have met her also, either physically or online. And then Kristen, our support officer, who some of you will have met in Melbourne. She's joining us today also. And then for our education team, our key education people, we have Kathy Kirby, our secondary education specialist, and Chris Hart, as you would all know him, Dr. Google. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but he sends his regards also. So just in terms of introductions, I think we did have a plan to go out into breakout rooms, but I think just looking at the list of people we have signed in, we might stay in this room, I think, because there's only a couple of us. But what we might do is ask those in the room to unmute themselves and talk about, introduce themselves, and then tell us what's been a highlight of the year for you. So we might actually start, I'll start with Lena Tubal, who's I think in East New Britain from memory. So Lena, do you want to unmute and put your video on and just introduce yourself to the rest of the people online and share a highlight with us from this year? So Lena, I can see you did unmute for a second, but it's popped back off for some reason onto mute. Yeah, I'm not sure. It seems to automatically go back to mute for some reason. It might be a technical computer issue. What we might do, Lena, is if we can't get you to talk, we'll get you to type into the chat box your introduction and let us know what's been one of the highlights for you this year. We might jump to POMNAT's team next.
Hello. I am Maya. Okay, highlight for, generally for POMNETs would be the STEM curriculum, which we were tasked to roll out this year. So I think that's the challenge that we are handling right now, POMNETs.
Fantastic. And
Yeah.
that's good. And is it Debbie's next to you?
Yeah.
Glenda.
Oh, Glenda.
Glenda.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. So like Maya mentioned, apart from rolling out the STEM curriculum, I think one of the best things that happened to us so far is implementing the design thinking process. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenda. Genvina, is that how you say it? Gavina, sorry.
Okay, thank you. It's one of the highlights I see is I'm privileged to be, I was privileged to be asked to go online on Monday, and it's first time for me to be online with this kind of activity. So I'm really happy to be part of the team now. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think last but not least, Debbie.
Hello, everyone. I shared some of the highlights I had yesterday during the coach session. I think we basically went through the highlights that happened here at our school. I think one of the most significant ones was actually getting the STEM students to go through design thinking and be able to come up with their prototypes that they took down to Putuka for an expo where we had in attendance the Prime Minister and Ministers of the Parliament. So that was exciting for us as well. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, POMNATs. We might hand over to Elizabeth Bond. Elizabeth, are you able to unmute your microphone and introduce yourself and share a highlight from this year so far?
Okay.
We can hear you.
Thank you. Good afternoon to our school leaders who are joining us here, provincial education officers from the different provinces. I'm happy to be part of this afternoon's session as a leader, a women leader from my province, ECP province. I'm Elizabeth Ball from ECP province. And I'm the teacher of a school, Hawaiian Technical High School. At the time when I was appointed to be the member of the ECP Provincial Education Board, I represented the province as a PAB member. But last year, I was given a teacher position, and so I've not really gone into taking part in a lot of the activities that were done by the selected schools. But I was able to just follow through and learn a lot of activities that were taken part in by the schools involved, and many things I learned from that. And as a school leader, I'm trying to implement some of the activities that the schools have taken part in and have presented on this platform, on the platform that I'm trying to use. So thank you very much. I'm happy to be part of this. Some of the activities, few of the activities I'm doing at my school as a leader is I've introduced the WASH program in my school, and also working on the policy and on child protection policy. So I'm trying to get some of these things that I've learned from these platform activities introduced into my school, and I'm doing that. So thank you to all the facilitators who have taken us through, and yes, we've learned a lot. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Elizabeth. Great introduction. We might hand over to Josephine. If you can unmute Josephine and introduce yourself. If you're unable to unmute Josephine, if you can type it into the chat box, that would be great. We might try jumping to Grace. Grace, are you able to unmute? I know a couple of these schools are in some remote locations, so the internet connectivity may not be great. But we'll be fixing that very shortly with the internet that's coming out to all of the schools. So we'll be able to have everyone connected. Well, I think we'll ask those that are in the room. I think I've identified everyone. Unfortunately, Lena's dropped off. I think there's been a technical issue at her end as well. For those that are in the room, if you didn't get to verbally introduce yourself, if you could do that into the chat box and just indicate Josephine, I've just seen you type into the chat box. Are you able to speak? Doesn't sound like it. That's okay, we'll keep moving. But it's great to have everyone here. And as I said, we are recording this, so we will share this with those that were unable to make it today. So I'll hand over to Junior now, who's going to give an overview of a bit of the background.
Thanks, Aaron. Hello, everyone, again. Good to see you all virtually. Just to give you background to get us started and understand what we have been doing last year and to this year. As you know, with the COVID-19, PASS have adapted its approach by changing from face-to-face to hybrid program because of the COVID-19. Now, in this year going forward, the focus of the delivery is school-based, which means all the activities will be done at each of your schools with remote support from the PASS team. The school-based learning activities will be delivered through two models. One is self-directed course for individual and school team and partnership. The second one will be facilitator-led trainers courses for groups. So this will be the two models which will be utilized to deliver those activities with the school-based program. With the school-based program, you will also understand that technology will be very handy to help with all the activities to be implemented out in the school. So you will become familiar with online resources like PASS Learning Bank and Google Classroom, where all the professional learning materials will be found in the PASS Learning Bank, which we will go through later on, and platforms like Google Classroom, where you will be learning stuff online. Also, with schools that are not able to connect well with the internet, resources will be provided in USB and hard disk and printed materials as well, just to help us to learn things based in the school. Also, the PASS team will support with using Google Meet and WhatsApp, which currently some of you are familiar. PASS is supporting all your schools remotely using those digital platforms. The school-based learning activities builds on from activities offered in 2020, including Leading and Learning in Term 2 last year. The Leading and Learning activities delivered in 2020 supported capacity building of 12 PASS schools in the area of leadership and school improvement priorities, focusing on STEM, English, child protection, e-safety, and WASH. The continued professional learning support is aligned to key NDOE priorities, including the STEM Excellence Policy and National School of Excellence Policy and the other related legal frameworks. The rollout of the school-based learning activity is extended to September of this year, which means it allows for the schools to learn on their own pace with flexibility. We also understand that you have your other academic catch-up lessons to do. So it's up to until September. Some of the support that's provided to the schools with the school-based learning are things like in terms of internet will be provided to the schools. Some of the hardware materials like computer and laptops will be provided to the schools, and other devices like conferencing, video conferencing devices. So it helps with the school-based learning in terms of that. The other opportunity that's presented with school-based learning is that with the resources that's available, with the skills and knowledge that you Lida Meri may gain over this period, you can be able to share with other cluster schools and those within your localities. So that's to give you background on what has been happening so far at PASS with the program rollout and implementation. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Junior. It's going to be my pleasure now to talk about some of the professional learning and teaching and learning resources that we've just recently developed for you. And for those who may have heard this before, there's so much information here that you'll just know it that much better. So I was explaining that we started this year thinking that we were going to be planning a really intensive professional learning program for PASS participants in April, with Australians gathering in Australia and Papua New Guineans in several locations in PNG, and all connecting at the same time online. But unfortunately, the COVID-19 situation prevented that activity occurring. So now we have something that's even better than that. And we've developed a range of courses that we plan to run in April, and we've now developed them into an online bank of teacher and school professional learning courses. And we've added new teaching and learning resources and new school partnership collaborative activities. All of the resources focus on STEM education, English, student agency, and building leadership. And we think that this approach is actually better than what we had planned to do in April, because we can put all of these great resources in your hands. You can use them anytime, anywhere. You can use them for in-school professional learning and teaching or with cluster schools. Teachers and school leaders can do the courses by themselves, or they can do them in groups together. And we're supporting that by providing trainer guides and workbooks for each course. So the slide in front of you now gives you an overview of what we've developed for you in 2021. Now, some of these things some of you will be familiar with, like Windows on the World. If you haven't gone into the PASS website and had a look at all of those fantastic videos that so many PASS participants uploaded, please do so. It's a beautiful journey into people's lives. And many of you will know we established the Online Learning Bank last year. It now has simply hundreds of teaching and learning resources on each of the STEM subjects, on STEM, on English, design thinking, new pedagogies, and so on. And just earlier this year, a couple of months ago, we brought together PNG teachers with Australian teachers, and I know it included some of the people here with us today, to discuss what further learning resources they'd like. And the Australian teachers have uploaded a whole lot of new curriculum resources as a result of those Learning Bank sprints. We know that by now, I think 90% of all of our PNG PASS schools have undertaken the child protection training, and many of you have also undertaken the PASS sexual harassment training too, and are working on developing policies and processes in your schools. That's fantastic. One exciting initiative that we have ready to go out to you is stored at Australia Awards office in Port Moresby, 400 kilos of equipment in boxes, and the boxes contain 200 Solar Buddy kits for each of your schools. And Solar Buddy lights are small lights that students can build themselves. It's a STEM activity. And then they can use them in their dormitories and homes to study without ever having to plug them into electricity. It's a really good way to continue the fantastic work that PASS schools have been doing and raising awareness about the environment. So that's the sort of overview. And what I'd just like to do now is focus in on some of the new PASS professional learning courses. So in general, we've got two types of online courses. Some of them are supported by facilitators, and other ones are self-directed. And being self-directed, that means that an individual teacher can do them by themselves, or you can do them in a group together. So with all of these courses, to support their implementation in your school, one of the first things that we're heading off with is a coach training course, and we launched this yesterday. Some of you might have been part of that launch, and you'll know that Anna is going to lead that coach training. Some of it will occur online at the same time together, and some of it is in modules which you'll work through in your own time. So every school will have two coaches, and those coaches will be provided with the technology, equipment and data that they need to support all of these courses. And we're launching today Ol Lida Meri, and Anna's going to tell us a lot more about that in the next part of this program today. And we're really looking forward to working with PNG women leaders from provincial education officers, from the National Department of Education, and also from secondary schools. Many of you will be familiar with the Leading Learning program that Anna led last year, and phase 2 of that program will be delivered later this year. Anna is really hoping that she's going to be able to travel back to PNG and come out to your schools to run that program. We're all hoping that will occur, and we hope that COVID travel restrictions are going to ease in time and allow it to happen. So those courses, they're all online for you, every part of them, every step of the way, and they can be done together or they can be done separately. For those of you who want to take up the self-directed courses, some 2019 participants might remember the project-based learning course that Tom Barrett and Chris Hart ran in POM in March last year. That's now all online and it's on the website. Chris Hart has also developed an Essential Pedagogies Toolkit, and it's providing just a toolkit of essential learner-centred pedagogies. It provides a range of strategies and tools, including things like building student learning experience, understanding the role of formative assessment, and including learner agency in pedagogical approaches. It's a treasure trove of a whole lot of strategies and resources and tools that you and your teachers can use in their classroom. The third self-directed course is we've been able to negotiate with Google that a free access to their fundamentals training. So you can get online. The course is delivered by reading, watching videos, doing activities, and they'll teach you how to set up a Google Classroom, how to use some of the other Google tools in your classroom. And by the time you've gone through it, you can take an exam and become a Google certified educator. And PASS will arrange for vouchers for interested teachers to take that exam free of charge. That course takes around about 15 hours to undertake. We were hoping that there might be some time in the National In-Service week, and we know that you just heard yesterday that may not occur this year in this particular break, but we hope there'll be other opportunities for it. So I want to now talk about some of the new teaching and learning resources that we've developed. And I first of all want to talk about our next school partner collaborative activity. It's on a STEM theme, similar to what we started with Project Wash W last year. This STEM theme is climate resilience. How can your school and your community plan to be a climate resilient community? The particular design sprint focuses in on storms and what impact that has on housing, on farming, and it's all about PNG and the PNG environment. And we've developed it in partnership with a group called the Australia Pacific Climate Partnership. School teams will be invited to take part in a student design sprint along with Australian schools if you have the technology that enables you to connect for a day. But all of the steps in this are written out and are really self-explanatory. So you can also run it yourselves in your school. Then there's 3 teaching and learning resources that you can use to teach STEM and English and build digital skills. So the first one is STEM and the environment, and it's been developed by Zoos Victoria in partnership with Port Moresby Nature Park. And the zoo in Melbourne, which some people visited in 2019, has a long-term partnership with Port Moresby Nature Park. So what this course does is it looks about how you can use real-world local environmental issues like species conservation in STEM curriculum. And it's focused around 2 particular animals at risk in PNG. The second course is called Digital Skills Builder. And like the first one, it's for teachers, but actually students can do it as well. And the Digital Skills Builder will enable you to learn core digital skills in the area of communication, collaboration, presentation, organisation, and also assessment, data and analytics. It's really comprehensive. The third teaching and learning resource we have is for the English classroom, and it's called Media Lab, and it's about storytelling. And we've developed it in partnership with the Australian Film, Television and Radio School. Now, the Film, Television and Radio School believe that storytelling is now considered an essential skill for work in the future, for jobs in the future, because most people in their jobs need to communicate effectively with their customers, their leaders, their peers, their communities. So just to give you a quick sense of this program, I've just got a minute-long clip, and we'll hear from the two tutors that have developed the program, Alana and Natasha, from the Australian Film, Television and Radio School.
Welcome all geta. Name belong me Alana Hicks. I'm originally from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Asplace belong me Porabata village.
Hello, name belong me Emmy Natasha Henry. I'm a writer and my mum is from Parramatta village in the Central Province.
Thank you so much for trusting us to develop this wonderful storytelling resource just for you.
Storytelling is an important part of our traditions, and we hope that through this resource you'll find some meaningful storytelling skills to share with your students.
In this storytelling resource, you will find a number of individual and group-based exercises which you can adapt to any classroom setting, even with an individual student and limited resources. The time commitment required for these exercises ranges from 1 hour right down to 15 minutes.
As part of our commitment, Alana, I and the Afters team are here to answer any questions for you over the next couple of months.
The resource is available on the PASS Learning Bank, and the PASS team are available to support and guide your use of it. Contact details for getting in touch are also available on the PASS website.
Best of luck to educator and student participants.
Look at you behind.
Great. And once again, that course is focused on a lot of contemporary and traditional PNG stories. Okay, so I just want to sum up by saying that all of these courses are available to everyone on the PASS Learning Bank. Each one is step by step. Everything you could think of is included. There's trainer and teacher guides. There's frequently asked questions and answers. There's student and participant workbooks. And we're also developing ways to recognise people completing the courses, what we call a micro-credential. And we're starting off with the coaches training for that credential for you. All of the courses and teaching and learning activities focus on leadership, STEM, English, design thinking, student-focused learning, project-based learning, and digital skills. So perhaps we'll just finish this briefing. Emmeline's going to show us the PASS website and just what that website looks like and how you can access the resources that I've just spoken about. Thanks, Em.
Thanks, Kathy. So we're on the homepage of the PASS website, and hopefully that looks relatively familiar to some of you. The 2021 courses and activities all are available from this tab here. Oh, sorry, just having a mouse issue. So if you click on that one at the top here in the menu, you'll then be able to see an introduction to all the various courses. So there's a menu, so you can click through. If you want to learn more about the Google Certified Educator, it'll tell you a bit more about that. And very soon, all the course materials will also be available from this page. And if I continue to scroll through that teaching and learning courses, you'll find videos, the frequently asked questions, and that's the video we just watched on storytelling, for example, that's there. So information about all the courses and activities that Kathy's just run through is available from here.
Great, thanks, Emmeline. So let's just have a look at the timeline for all of these activities. This week we've been launching the activities and programs to a range of audiences. PNG principals and provincial leaders, the coaches from each school, and today, you fantastic women leaders in PNG schools. All of the courses will be available from the 28th, between the 28th of June and the 2nd of July. They'll be uploaded onto the website, and we'll certainly let you know exactly when they go up through the newsletter, Toksave. We're thinking of the Climate Resilience Design Sprint mid to late July, and we'll be in touch with you about what times are going to work for you. We're going to be launching the Climate Resilience Project, that's like Project Wash W, but on climate resilience, in early August, and we'll have some follow-up sessions on that. And in early to mid-September, we are going to have a really fantastic celebration to once again look at the work which I know is going to be so impressive coming out of all of the schools here in PNG and Australia in response to this. So I wish you the best of luck with that. I know there's been a lot of information there today, and there's a lot of courses that we're going to be putting up there, and we hope that they'll be there longer than the next few months, but we hope that you can get in and have a look at them. And particularly for people working at a provincial level, they provide you with really fantastic opportunity for some of the courses you might like to run with clusters of schools. And remembering that there's 2 teachers in each of the PASS schools who are going to be trained up as coaches for this work. So good luck and thank you very much. And I think, Anna, I'm passing over to you.
You are passing over to me. Thanks, Kathy. And so lovely to see everyone again, especially our provincial leaders. While I love all of our principal team and, of course, all of our school-based people, I feel so lucky I got to spend some time with them last year. But our PEO teams, especially Elizabeth and Lena, it's great to see you. I know we haven't seen each other since March last year, and we had some really big plans before this pandemic changed the way that we're working. But really lovely to have you here today. And of course, we're looking forward to working more closely now and into the future. So what I might do is just spend a little bit of time outlining what the OI Lida Meri course looks like. The key purpose for this was to bring women in educational leadership together and to support them to work as a coalition, as a network, to not just grow their capacity as leaders, but also to support you guys to co-design improvement. Okay, so what we know about the way that you work already is that there's some really brilliant initiatives moving forward in your schools and across your provinces. And we wanted to create an opportunity to support us in this new blended way of working across all 12 provinces with 12 schools to, of course, focus on women's leadership capacity, but then also to be focused on what you think is important to improve women's leadership in the education sector. So we thought, who better placed than our provincial education officers and our women in our schools? Okay, so the way that this course is going to look, if you could just click through, there will be 5 key points of contact throughout it. Today is, of course, the launch. We will have a digital boot camp, so that will be focused on supporting digital literacy across all the platforms that we will be using. The 3rd point of contact is focused on your superpower. The 4th one is on your tribe, and we will be finishing with a project design. What you'll notice as I go through today's briefing is that there's 2 icons that I'll use. One is for blended delivery. Okay, so that means that anywhere you see a blended delivery icon, that means that we will be all working together online. So you might be working face-to-face with the few women around you, and we'll be working online together across all 12 provinces as well. Where you see the self-facilitated learning, that means that there's online materials that you can download or print off, or we might actually print them and send them to you. And there's self-facilitated learning materials that you can go through in your own time. Okay, if you could click through, please. Okay, so what this looks like in terms of a sequence for delivery is that our launch that we're doing today, of course, this is a blended way of working. I can see some of you are sitting there by yourself. Pomnats, you've got a whole gang of ladies together. Thanks for bringing them. So our launch today, we will then go into doing a digital boot camp. Okay, the boot camp again will be a blended delivery, which means that you guys will be working with your devices, and I will be supporting from this end of my screen. Okay. In between each of our points of contact, there will be self-facilitated learning. Okay, so little course modules to complete. Typically, they won't take more than an hour, and they will support your thinking about particular areas of content, focused sometimes on leadership. Sometimes it'll be focused on how we're working together to support our cultures of improvement in our schools and in our provincial, with our provincial boards. And then we will come back together, and typically the 1 hour, workshop with your superpower and your tribe, they will only be hour workshops as well. Okay, so it's not a massive time commitment, and the reason why we structured it this way is because we know that you're all very busy. You've got a lot of other commitments on your plate as well. However, the very final workshop, which is designed for women, that again, like the digital bootcamp, will be a one-day workshop. And I'll unpack a little bit more of what that looks like now. If you could flick. Okay. So the module 1, which is around digital collaboration, will be a one-day workshop. And as Kathy mentioned earlier, all of the coaches across the 12 schools have got laptops that are coming to them. They're all being issued with devices and with data packages. So once they have arrived, the intention is to lever some of those digital tools across this space as well, so that you're able to participate for the day. The goal is to give everyone an equal opportunity to learn how to use some of the G Suite and also a few other online softwares that we use for collaboration. Okay. All of the processes that we will likely use are very similar to the things that we may have done together in Port Moresby. Okay, so you will have some prior experience and understanding of the processes we use, but what we're going to do is start to improve digital literacy around how we do this online collaboratively when we're all working remotely from each other. Okay, keeping in mind that all of the aspects of learning through the digital bootcamp, they're very transferable to all aspects of your work life, but also directly transferable to some of the learning activities that you will encounter throughout through the past learning, with some of those activities that are scheduled and will be released. What you'll find is at the end of the digital collaboration workshop is that some of the skills that you're learning will set you up really well to then go and do the Google Certified Educator exam. Okay, you might choose to do the course, and what you'll find is all of the things that we learn are very transferable and relevant to getting that level 1 exam as well. So that's something that you might think about as well. So module 2 is focused on your superpower. So through leading learning, I know that a few of you did participate with that last year with me. We talked a little bit about strengths-based leadership. Okay, so through this module, we're going to be pulling forward those concepts about really knowing your voice, your power, and leveraging those to create improvement. Okay, understanding that we all can have an impact as individuals and as a collective as well, and knowing that if we are working to create improvement, really thinking about how we lead as individuals to create the change that we hope to see. In module 3, we're going to then start to focus on how we work as a tribe, how we work as a collective, both in your schools, in your provinces, but as a national network, okay? As a national network of women to really understand how cultures work, or organizational cultures work, to create improvement focus, particularly around equity, inclusion, and opportunities. Okay, and certainly, and it will be around how we then support leaders at all levels, how we empower leaders at all levels, from the students in our classroom all the way up to those people that we work with at provincial level as well. Okay, so that's module 3. In module 4, which is the final module, what we will be doing for a whole day workshop is again working in a blended online model to co-design a project. Okay, there will be some self-paced learning leading into this workshop, but the goal is to have everybody co-designing a project with some actions that they can follow through with in their province. Okay, so that will look like each PEO and each school-based leader will co-design together, and we'll have an opportunity to share our projects across all 12 provinces to share and support each other as we move forward with that. Okay, so that particular design day will be held online, and again, the digital upskilling or the digital collaboration that we do at the very start will support the literacy required to participate in that workshop as well. And that's a really exciting opportunity to actually be able to see everybody's planning. I know that many of us did design thinking face-to-face with butcher's paper and post-it notes and markers. The app that we use is a Miro, and it is essentially a big online whiteboard. So it is a really fantastic way for us to share our thinking together as well. Okay, so they're the 4 key modules that are part of the Ol Lida Meri. What I will mention is that we're working on micro-credentialing this space. Okay, we haven't formalized it yet, but for all the women who are participating throughout this course, on completion, we're looking at how we can micro-credential it so that you have a certificate that you know acknowledges your contribution and your leadership and your participation in completing this course, particularly focused on women. Okay, we do have, as you would have seen, a WhatsApp group as well. I'm going to show that right at the end of our workshop today. But as you know, sometimes inboxes get really busy. The best way for us to communicate will be through that WhatsApp group. So I know that we've only got a few of us here today. I'd encourage you to join that, and the rest of the team will be joining that in the coming week or 2. Just a much easier way to keep our communication fluid between our Lida Meris. Okay. So from everyone who's in the room with us today, are there any questions about anything that's being shared today? You can either unmute and talk, or you could pop your question in the chat box.
It's not really a question, but just a comment. I see that most of the activities that you have facilitated so much focus on the selected schools for the PASS program. And some of us have come in as leaders, or Lida Meri, Lida Man, we've come into that, and despite having most of the activities focused on the selected schools, students and the teachers of these schools, some of us have been following through and just taking what's important, relevant to us, and we can put it into use at the different levels, schools that we're in. And that's what I'm doing. But I'm happy to see that you have now come up with a program that's focused on the leaders only. So yeah, I'm happy, and I'd like to commend the team for thinking of us leaders. Like sometimes, I'm thinking, where do I come in? These activities are for the students, so and that teachers from the selected schools, and how do I come in, and how do I fit in as a leader and being part of the group? But with what you've come up with, the team, thank you very much. You now have something specifically focused for us leaders. Thank you very much.
Great, you're welcome, and thanks, Elizabeth. I think we certainly value the voice, particularly of all of the provincial education leaders who have we haven't been able to spend as much time with the past 12 months. So please feel welcome to have that open communication with us about what you need and what you think is important as well. We've certainly got those relationships with our our schools, and they're pretty honest at telling us what's working and what's not. So we would love to have that relationship across, you know, the provinces as well, just to make sure, you know, we're supporting you as well the best that we can. Thanks. Did anyone else have any questions or comments?
Beck, okay, I heard you will be assisting schools with laptops and other, you know, digital equipment in the activities. And so do you have any thoughts for us, leaders, provincial leaders, or that's all, thank you.
This is a really great question. I might pass this one to Aaron.
Thanks, Anna. And it is a great question, Elizabeth. At the moment, because the program is focused specifically on schools, we've only been able to provide laptops for the coaches in the schools. It works out as 2 laptops per school. But in the next phase of the project, which we're still designing at the moment, I suspect there may be a stronger focus on women in leadership in our priorities, as well as a stronger focus in our work and engagement at the subnational level, so at the provincial level. So then I suspect there will be more support provided at a provincial level in the next part of the project, which will start from October. So at the moment, it's very much school focused, but I think there will be more of a systems focus in the next part. So we'll be able to give you a bit more information from then.
Thank you.
No worries.
Awesome. That's a good question though. Any other questions? Pomnats, Josephine, Grace. If anybody does have questions after this, as I mentioned, that WhatsApp group is going to be the best spot for us to, you know, continue to ask questions and continue to work together. So feel welcome. If you walk away from this workshop today and have anything that's on your mind, please just flick your question across there. We of course have most of our team in there. So if I can't respond, there's some other amazing people who will be able to. Em has just put up the QR code. So if you have your phone in your hand, you can open the camera and hover over the QR code, and it will link directly to the WhatsApp group as well. But we will, of course, send out this PowerPoint afterwards, and you can access it that way. Okay.
Thanks, Anna. So just in terms of next steps, we'll be able to send you a copy of all these slides as well as a link to the recording. We'll put it on the WhatsApp group, but we'll also email it to everyone. And I'm assuming it'll also go in TalkSave, the recording links, so that you can get them through your email. All of the course materials are already on the PASS Learning Bank, so you can jump on and have a look at your leisure. And those links, again, also will be in TalkSave. And we'll also support all of you and your participants in your schools as well to access all the materials. In particular during the upcoming in-service week, which I know for some schools has been shortened to only a couple of days, but we'll be around to assist where needed. So in terms of your work, if you want to have a look at some of the course modules, you can start them yourself. They're self-paced, so you can do some bits and pieces over the coming weeks at your leisure. We encourage you to share those courses, whether you're in a school, share them with your colleagues. If you're a provincial education officer, feel free to share them with your other colleagues at the office or other schools that you might work with, to have a look at the activities that are there. They're freely available for everyone to access. And obviously we're here to help. So any questions, reach out via WhatsApp, email, phone call, Google Classroom, whatever method you can get to us, we'll be there to assist.
Fantastic. And I just might add that the final piece for the Ol Lida Meri is, you will notice I didn't identify any dates just yet. What we are doing is waiting for the devices for the coaches to arrive in the schools. Once those devices are in the schools, then we will set up a date for the digital boot camp, and we'll be asking your feedback on the best date, and we'll do that via email and through the WhatsApp group. So just keep in mind that while those dates aren't settled just yet, we look forward to settling them in the next couple of weeks as well. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. We know that you've had a really busy term and a busy week as well, and I know that, you know, with the upcoming holidays, there's a lot to get through, and you're coming back to school early. So we really appreciate your commitment and support of our work, and we look forward to working with you between now and the end of the year. So have a great afternoon, everyone, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.